You know me, SDMT. Big news right here, man. Antonio Brown and Juju are tweaking, man. They going at it on Twitter, man. Going crazy right here. This came out of nowhere, man. We didn't really think they were beefing, but man, they went crazy on Twitter today. It all started with a fan sent, Antonio Brown a picture of Juju being the MVP. Antonio Brown, I guess he couldn't let that go, and he had to speak on it. So he said, the boy fumbled the whole postseason away, in the biggest game of the year, and they're too busy trying to make people famous other than reality these days. And, and he said, check that list. So Juju responded. Juju said, keep your emotions off the internet. And then he also said, since he came into the league, he did nothing but show Antonio Brown love, and he was happy for him when he got traded to Oakland, and he got the big deal. And, he's always been showing him love. And now, Antonio Brown's taking shots at him. So Juju feels like, shell shock. This came out of nowhere. But a few weeks ago, Antonio Brown, when a lot of those Steelers receivers were coming to Big Ben's, support Big Ben as him being the leader, Antonio Brown said these guys will say anything to get that deal, even if it means jeopardizing, their character and what they stand for, just to get that money. So pretty much, he was sending a shot at the players that were standing up for Big Ben. But then he also posted a picture of him and Juju hugging, saying, don't believe the noise, remember what we talked about. So it didn't seem like it was no beef between them, you know what I mean? So this is kind of out of nowhere. I got Antonio Brown's back a lot of the time. People be like, oh man, you got Antonio's back. But not on this one, man. This is a little bit too much, you know what I'm saying? Antonio Brown has his money. He has a big bag, guaranteed money. He has a new team, you know what I mean? He got out of Pittsburgh, he got away from Big Ben. Big Ben canceled his radio show, so, you know what I'm saying? AB got the W out the whole situation, but now I think he's taking it too far. You know what I'm saying? You're on a new team. I'm loving the workouts on Instagram, putting your grind in. Stay focused on that. You're in Oakland now. Leave Pittsburgh behind. You know what I'm saying? Juju did mess up dropping that ball, fumbling. You know what I mean? That did happen, but at the end of the day, that was last season. And it's old news, you know what I'm saying? It's time to move forward for Antonio Brown, Juju, and everybody, you know what I'm saying? It's West Coast. It's been a tough week for us, and we ain't trying to deal with it. We had Kodak tweaking this week, and this would be a Florida, California little beef going on because, they had Kodak's back, and we got Nipsey's back, you know what I'm saying? R.I.P. Nipsey, you know what I'm saying? One of the greatest to do it, a legend in the game. But let's get back to it, you know what I'm saying? Let's get back to it. Antonio Brown, out of this whole situation, a lot of people didn't think he was going to come out on top. When there was rumors of him going to the Bills, there was so many memes, and they was roasting him, and they was clowning him. But guess what? He didn't end up going to Buffalo. He ended up going to a solid team where he got a big deal in the Raiders. Now, people going to say, oh, they're not that solid. Raiders aren't that bad. They're better than the Bills, I tell you that. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see how that goes with him. But at the end of the day, Antonio Brown is tweaking right here, man. He has no right to go at Juju. This was unnecessary. You know what I mean? I understand why he went out Big Ben. You know what I mean? He Roethlisberger, Juju. You know what I mean? Throwing him under the bus, just like Big Ben threw, AB under the bus. You know what I mean? So it's funny, all you Steeler fans, you may like this video because I'm getting on AB, but y'all goofy as hell anyway, because, if Big Ben threw Juju under the bus for fumbling, y'all would say, oh, I'm glad he called him out. You know what I'm saying? So y'all hypocrites, we can't, you know what I'm saying? A lot of y'all lost and y'all just stands, and we can't make sense of y'all. So let's get back to the story. Antonio Brown needs to focus on being a Raider and trying to get that team back to being a solid team in the AFC West. And then we got, Steelers, they lost a lot of talent, but they need to find their locker room, get things together. It was a good move by Ben ending his radio show. That's helped the morale for that team. So that should be huge. But this right here, man, I really don't like this, man. I can't vouch for it, man. Antonio Brown is tweaking, man. He had no right to go at Juju. You can tell it did bother him that, they made Juju the MVP of that team, which I believe Big Ben orchestrated that, and it was kind of like a way to stick it to Antonio Brown. Big Ben did a lot of things that kind of, pushed Antonio Brown away from the team, and I think that was something that was definitely an issue. So yeah, I think Antonio Brown is not happy that he didn't get the MVP, especially when you look at Juju. A lot of his success has been because that he's on the other side of Antonio Brown. It's going to be an interesting season to see now when Juju's the #1 receiver and he gets all the attention, when that safety shaded over, when he gets that best corner all the time, you know, and then also the Steelers won't have that super high-level receiver on the other side to go to. So Big Ben may be trying to force the ball to Juju as well. So we're going to see how that goes. The Steelers, we'll see how that team, you know, rolls. It's going to be very interesting how they do without Antonio Brown. You know what I mean? They have some young talent. Juju is a star. I was very high on him coming out of the draft, and he's been solid these last few seasons in the Steelers, so I expect him to be solid. I do think there's going to be a learning curve for him. He's going to struggle a little bit, but then he's going to get on top of his game, be one of the elite receivers in the game. But when it comes to this story, man, Juju, I do understand. Juju also, he tweeted after the whole thing, he tweeted a quote by Mark Twain, and it says, "Never argue with the fool, because onlookers may not be able to tell the difference between you two." Okay, so pretty much sending the shot at Antonio Brown, like, why am I, you know, argue with somebody that's acting like this? I told you guys a long time ago in my videos, you can go check out, Antonio Brown is a diva. He's about himself. That's a lot of receivers. He's about attention, he's about me, and he's about a lot of these things. He's not very unapologetic about it. You know what I mean? He's about his money, he's about his catches, he's about his yards, and that's what he's about, and actually winning games as well. But, you know, when you really look at it, this right here was unnecessary. At this point in the offseason, he's on a new team. He has a big bag. You know, he has a new quarterback. He's happy to be under John Gruden. So you have all this positivity going for you. Why throw Juju under the bus? It was very unnecessary, and I can't vouch for it, and it just wasn't cool. You know what I mean? The West Coast, we've been going through a lot. It's been a hard week for us. You know what I mean? Losing Nipsey Hussle. So, you know, Juju's from Long Beach. It's close to LA, you know what I'm saying? So everybody's been going through it, and we don't really need this right now. We don't really need it. Everybody needs to chill out, let cooler heads prevail, and move on. So you guys let me know what you guys think. Who do you think is tweaking? I gotta go with AB on this one because it was just unnecessary. At this point in the game, he's a Raider. He's putting in work during the offseason. He's one of the hardest working players in the league. He's getting it done, and this was unnecessary. You may be happy that you weren't the MVP of that team. Hey, but move on. You're on a new team. You know what I'm saying? Let it go. You're kind of like that, you know, that ex that wants to throw that person under the bus anytime you get a chance. So you have that little bit of bitterness in you. And I can see how Antonio Brown would have that bitterness in him because Steeler fans have been so bitter. They've been in his mentions and his comments, hating on him, hating on his kids. I mean, it's a lot of scumbag activity going on by a lot of Steeler fans. I'm saying, I'm sorry. A lot of things that you guys are doing that are unacceptable. And I can tell maybe he's getting irritated about that a little bit. He did respond to a Steeler fan about that Juju MVP post and added Antonio Brown, so he could be getting annoyed from it. So, and there also be something also that we don't know about. You know what I'm saying? Something could have happened that Juju said, or something behind the scenes that Antonio Brown snapped and felt like he had to throw him under the bus. So we don't know where the smoke came from, but they had smoke today. So let me know, who do you think is tweaking? Who's right? Who's wrong? Don't forget to drop your thoughts below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on my notifications. SDMT! Follow me on Instagram at SDMT619.